Anyone who has followed AI news in the last few years has probably heard of GPT-2. It is a cloud-based text-to-text tool that understands many natural languages. It reads the text you enter and generates sentences, as well as blogs, stories, poems, and even computer code. In 2021, DALL-E, a 12 billion parameter tool, was released. It is a text-to-image tool trained to generate images on a wide range of concepts from short written text descriptions. As you can see here, it was a penguin made of comfort, and this is the image that it generated. In 2022, an updated version called DALL-E 2 was released. It has 4 times greater resolution than its predecessor and has been described as a natural language powered version of Photoshop. For example, the phrase avocado chair created this image. And just last month, in September, Meta announced Make a Video. Make a Video is a text-to-movie tool that understands written text descriptions and uses NLU to generate short movie clips. I would not be surprised if in 2023 a company announces a voice-to-image or voice-to-movie tool. People may consider these examples novelties or prototypes. But business executives, many speaking this week at VOICE22 Summit, realize that there are many practical applications of NLP and voice AI in the industry. Hello, my name is Michael Novak. I'm a senior responsible AI advisor for the Open Voice Network. The Open Voice Network is a neutral nonprofit industry association dedicated to the development of the standards and ethical use guidelines that will make voice worthy of user trust. This year, the OVON Privacy and Security Working Group published version 2 of our Privacy Principles and Capabilities Unique to Voice white paper. Today, at VOICE22 Summit, I will highlight 3 issues we examined and discuss why they are important to consumers and to business executives. The 3 issues are data privacy in the US and the EU, 4 voice AI principles, and a voice AI action plan. Debated by philosophers from ancient Greece until current day, privacy is a globally recognized human rights principle. However, it does lack a common agreed upon definition. Academics have compared privacy to usability and security, holistic properties of interactive systems. Globally, different philosophical traditions, geography, cultural heritages, and historical contexts have influenced how privacy is defined, regulated, and implemented. And representative of 2 different privacy perspectives are the United States and the European Union. Joel Reidenberg, a privacy expert at Fordham University School of Law, sums up the different privacy perspectives well. In Europe, the first line of defense against wrongdoing is the state. In the United States, our instinct is more liberal. Let private actors sue each other. So the US does not have a federal privacy law. It has adapted a patchwork, market-driven approach toward regulating consumer privacy. At the federal level, privacy enforcement responsibility is distributed across several agencies and offices. Examples include the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. They rely upon Section 5 of the FTC Act to combat unfair or deceptive acts or practices to address digital personal privacy harms. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, also known as NIST, has developed a risk management framework, and that is to help public and private organizations identify and manage their privacy risk. And the U.S. National Artificial Intelligence Initiative Office, formed just in 2020, is currently developing policies for the design, development, acquisition, and use of AI to ensure the work is done in a manner that protects privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties. But note that no federal entities address voice AI data privacy issues, at least not yet. At the state level, all U.S. states have data breach notification rules, but only a few, such as California and Virginia, have passed data privacy laws. A handful of states have taken a different tact. Illinois, for example, has the Biometric Information Privacy Act, also known as BIPA, and BIPA governs the handling and storage of biometric data such as retina or iris scans, fingerprints, hand scans, facial geometry, DNA, and voice prints. In the private sector, the consumer data privacy is implemented using notice and choice. Notice is a presentation of terms by a company, typically a written privacy policy or terms of use agreement in a web page. We have an example here on the screen. Choice is the action taken or not by the user, signifying acceptance of the terms. This is accomplished by clicking on an I agree button or simply using the website. The loudest complaint against notice and choice is simply that there is no choice. Users can only accept all of the terms as written and presented on a website, even if there are clauses that users don't agree with, such as reselling or using their data for marketing. In contrast to the US Mosaic model, European privacy protection is based upon human rights treaties such as the UN Declaration of Human Rights. This freedom was codified in the EU Charter, which recognizes a right to privacy in one's personal data. GDPR views personal data as the property of the individual, not data controllers or processors. And the aims of the GDPR include rebuilding customer trust in sharing information with private companies and limiting predatory practices of business. This picture here lists several key principles. And on the right side is an overview of individual rights and lawful basis for processing data. This slide lists the GDPR categories of personal data, such as name, location, online identifiers, health information, and a few others. GDPR classifies voice AI as biometric data, which belongs in a special category of data called sensitive personal data. Sensitive personal data treats data with additional security, such as the need to be stored separately, encrypted, and/or pseudo-randomized. In 2021, the European Data Protection Board issued guidelines on virtual voice assistants. The report focused on 4 common virtual voice assistant use cases and recommendations on how to address compliance issues. The OVON analyzed the report and made suggestions to the European Data Protection Board to address voice AI and privacy. Our Privacy and Security Working Group continues to monitor other EU legislative vehicles, such as the Digital Services Act, Digital Markets Act, the AI Act, and e-privacy regulation. Although designed to only protect EU citizens, the quote-unquote borderless nature of the internet and e-commerce gives the EU legislation a global reach because it applies to any processor of EU citizen data. While GDPR is focused on the individual personal data, there are criticisms regarding implementation. For example, do companies that claim to comply with GDPR really have superior control of the large volumes of personal information they process? For both the US and EU, there is work to be done to clarify voice data privacy risks. OVON has identified two classes. One, personal data collected without consent from the user during interactions with a voice assistant, and two, personal data inadvertently revealed to a third party during interactions with a voice assistant which may cause harm to the consumer. These voice data privacy risks are discussed further in our white paper. The next issue we addressed was the development of voice AI principles. The Open Voice Network identified 4 principles to guide the development of voice data privacy strategies. These principles are based on study of global privacy legislation, consultation with privacy experts, and comments from industry leaders on the present and predictions of future voice assistant technology. The first, transparency. Voice user interfaces should be accessible and readily available for the purpose of providing user notification of data collection practices, general data usage, and data sharing policies. Number 2, consent. A voluntary agreement to or an acquiescence of what another proposes or desires. Users must be allowed to give explicit, unambiguous consent before the collection and processing of personal voice data. Limited collection and use. The collection and analysis of raw and processed voice data, beyond that necessary for immediate dialogue functionality, should be used only for its stated and creator consent given purposes. Control. Control, in the context of our white paper, is defined as the ability of the user to easily access, rectify, suppress, limit, oppose, and transport their own data. Any data that is not deleted must be accessible by the user and with the ability to review, correct, or securely delete their data. The third issue we addressed was the development of a voice AI action plan. The voice AI action plan includes 3 components. The first component is develop a privacy policy template. An effective voice assistance specific privacy policy template can be used by enterprise privacy teams and independent designers or developers responsible for managing voice-specific privacy risks. The template will be used as a framework to inform users that they adhere to Open Voice Network privacy principles, and the template should include data collection policies, data use policies, and informed consent practices. The second component is review privacy legislation. A review should be performed regularly and include an overview of consumer-focused global privacy regulations as they are being updated by different countries all the time. The review should also include guidance for regulatory officials on how to incorporate voice assistance into existing consumer data privacy. OVON has engaged with the Worldwide Consortium, Future of Privacy Forum, E-commerce Europe, and the Stanford University Open Virtual Assistance Lab. The third component is to establish an Open Voice Network privacy certification. We plan to develop a privacy certification. It will allow enterprise voice assistant platform providers to self-certify that their voice assistant platform meets the Open Voice Network privacy standards for voice assistants. Future deliverables include defining an official certification body to administer and govern this privacy certification process. In conclusion, the steady growth of voice AI technology has revealed new personal privacy challenges. In today's session, we reviewed version 2 of the OVON Privacy and Security Working Group white paper that discusses US versus EU privacy, 4 voice AI principles, and tools for enterprise decision makers to manage voice assistant privacy risks. OVON believes that the principles and plan of action in the white paper are a solid first step toward raising consumer and business awareness of voice capabilities. From NLU to voice assistant conversations, the need to address voice data privacy concerns and update standards to accommodate conversational AI is important, and the time is now. Thank you very much for your time today. The Open Voice Network is a nonprofit industry association dedicated to the development of standards for voice assistant transparency that will make using voice technology worthy of user trust. We invite you to join us. We are an open source community within the Linux Foundation. It is an independently funded and governed with participation of more than 120 voice practitioner and enterprise leaders from 12 countries worldwide. If you or your company are interested in learning more about conversational voice AI or how you can contribute, please do contact me at the LinkedIn address below.